Come seeker, come traveler, come all humankind, online or in person, whomever you love.
Come and be welcome at the Unitarian Universalist Church of Cheyenne. Here, we are building a community of refuge where all have equal worth and are invited into spiritual exploration as a foundation for hope, compassionate service, and action.
This is a place where questions are encouraged, a place with room for all of who you are.
This is a place full of works in progress, a place for being human together.
Welcome. It is good to be here.
Settle in and exhale. This is a time for community.
Hello, I'm Audrey Bunton, and I'm your current board vice president. And I'm here to welcome you to this church where we are on a shared journey to find meaning, connection, excuse me, and community together. If you are new to us, please fill out one of the blue framed cards that you can find in the back of the pew in front of you. That way we can share information about our activities and help find what nourishes your spirit here. There are note cards in your pew also for writing your joys and sorrows for the pastoral prayer. We pass a square basket during the offering to gather these. You can write your name or remain anonymous. You can write "do not share" on the card if there's something you want held in care by our minister and pastoral care team, but not spoken aloud. Many activities and events happen each week in this community. Here are a few coming up soon. On the second and fourth Sundays, faith development class for 5 to 12-year-olds meets downstairs following the time for all ages, so that would be today. And there's an astrology class that Lauren Danley is going to be leading. It's "What's Your Sign?" and more. It's on astrology. It's a 3-session class that begins this coming Friday, the 13th at 6:30 p.m. So for 3 Fridays in a row, you can join Lauren about astrology. Beginning Wednesday, February 18th is, oh, never mind.
Yeah,
Is it Wednesday the
Can we
18th?
check?
It's Friday
It's Wednesday
the 13th.
the 18th.
Okay. Because
And-
this says,
and every other week.
the 3 looked like an 8. So it's Wednesdays, not Friday. Okay.
Wednesday, February 18th.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Thank you. Yes. And there will be a sign-up sheet, and speak to Lauren for more information. The 2026 service auction is next month. Do you have something to donate? Sure you do. There's something that you can do. It might be a truck that you can have be available to help somebody with a move. There's so many things that it can be. It can be a shared meal, a game night, some kind of service that you can do that you think perhaps someone else might benefit from. And then you can get creative. You can ask around for what might be good. And there's bound to be plenty of people here who recognize your strengths. And then fill out a donation sheet in the yellow box in the foyer when you've decided what you'll be giving. Or you can donate some food. There are signups for food donations in the social hall. Please take a look and see what you might be able to provide for our hungry service auction attendees. And now I invite Karen to come up to talk about our Share the Plate recipient for this month.
It will.
Fall off the back here. Okay. We gather in person and on Zoom each week, giving from our resources to sustain the work of this church and share our abundance with community organizations, broadening the reach of our values. You can find the text to give number in your order of service or use your Realm app for electronic giving, or your Share the Plate offerings and pledges may also be dropped in the baskets in a few moments as they pass. Our Share the Plate partner for February is Wyoming Equality. And let's welcome Sarah Burlingame. Did I say your name right? Burlingame? Okay. To tell us about their work. Okay.
Good morning, friends. I'm Sarah Burlingame. I'm the Executive Director of Wyoming Equality, and I think that most folks are familiar with Wyoming's only statewide LGBTQ org, but it never hurts to start from the beginning and let folks know that Wyoming Equality was started as United Gays and Lesbians of Wyoming in 1987. It's perhaps one of the worst acronyms ever. It's like one consonant short of spelling ugly, which we're not, you know. It was started by one of UUCC's, another founding member, Joe Corrigan, and about 12 other folks who just wanted to camp. I think we're one of the only statewide advocacy groups who started out as a camping group. And the first rendezvous that was ever held in 1987 over in the Medicine Bow National Forest, 13 or 14 folks parked their trucks in a circle, rolled the windows down, tuned it to the country station down in Laramie, and had the first LGBTQ dance. Since then, Wyoming Equality has expanded to, well, up until Doge cuts this last year, we had 6 full-time employees who all had good benefits and worked full-time. We're now back down to 2 people, myself and Courtney Titus. Some of you met Amna Medina. He was my deputy director for 7 years. He just stepped away to lead a really great statewide, or rather national organization, but he promises that he'll come back to UUCC and sing again, because that's what we really need him for. We need him to come and sing. The work that Wyoming Equality does is the work of making sure that every lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, two-spirit, queer person in the state of Wyoming knows that we're fighting for their dignity, we're fighting for their rights to be loved and accepted in the places that we call home. So there's a lot of different ways to get involved, and this church has always been at the very heart of that involvement from the very beginning. So one way that you can be involved is you can give generously today. Any amount that you give this month for the Share the Plate will go directly to the general funds, which helps keeps our lights on and do advocacy and healthcare advocacy and safe and healthy communities. But there's other ways to get involved as well. You could specify that you'd like your donation to go to the Lauren Danley Scholarship Fund. This is a scholarship fund that myself, former representatives Jerry Obermueller and Representative Pat Sweeney and our former communications director Santi Murillo are in that committee. Natrona County's hitting heavy on what they bring to the table. If you'd like your donation to go to the scholarship so that folks, whether they're studying in the state of Wyoming or out, know that this church is encouraging them and helping them achieve their goals, that's something that you can do. Also, since we lost $500,000 in federal funding this last year, we're looking for 100 people to become $100 a month donors. We're trying to shore up against the boom and bust of federal grants. It's a lot more bust than boom right now, but Wyoming always comes through, right? This church always comes through. And it's pretty dark times, I think, particularly for young trans people looking around the state, wondering if they have a home here, wondering if their neighbors will show up for them. And I think, you know, in this church, the answer has always been a resounding yes. So to that end, this next Friday, the 13th at the Capitol, there's an opportunity to come at noon for the noon rally, hear people speaking about Equality Day, having a conversation with the people who will be making the decisions about where we spend our money and who we say is okay and not in the equality state. And this church will be hosting the dinner the night before for folks who are coming in from out of town and might want to crash on our gym floor. So there's lots of ways to be involved. I know that everyone here is lifting where they stand, and we're just very grateful. So thank you.
Thank you so much. And as as you prepare to give generously to the work of this church and beyond, please also think about if you are able to offer soup, salad, or bread for that Thursday night meal. We would greatly appreciate it, and we'd love to know ahead of time so that we know if we need to make up any difference. So please talk to Jed or myself and get your name on that list for signups. Thank you so much. For that which is received for the work of this church and beyond. May we be truly grateful, for we are blessed. Some days, the world feels cold and hard, frozen and still. Other days, the dry wind sweeps across browned grasses. But whatever the weather of the world or of our souls, may gathering together in love be a comfort and a challenge to weather the storms together and to name what is needful and good in this world, to help us stand in courage for whatever is to come, to honor our values and turn them into practical living. This is not the Olympics, and you will receive no medals for your arrival or your achievements in this place. And yet, the striving is no less to live out the days of your lives fully, wholly, with integrity, ever seeking compassion, ever finding new ways to offer love and kindness. For this is the challenge of living, not the gathering of medals, but the honoring of truth and kindness and honor. This, what we do together, is a relay race, a group bobsledding course, a pairs figure skating team, a team biathlon. We hand off the baton, we all hop in the sled, we dance together, we trade off in speed and accuracy, and reminding each other to breathe Together, we count the hours of our days and make room for what is needed to learn in order to become a credit to the team, in order to become our best, for our shared goals in this dance of life. We come together in worship. And so, for our opening hymn, I'll invite you to turn in your gray hymnals and rise in body or in spirit as we join in singing number 354, We Laugh, We Cry. And if you would like to share in the leadership of our singing, please join Carol on the chancel at this time.
We laugh, we cry, we live, we die, we dance, we sing our song. We need to feel there's something here to which we can belong. We need to feel the freedom just to have some time alone. But most of all, we need close friends we can call our very own. And we believe in life and in the strength of love. And we have found a need to be together. We have our hearts to give. We have our thoughts to receive. And we can believe that sharing is an answer. A child was born among us, and we feel a special glow. We see time's endless journey as we watch the baby grow. We thrill to hear imagination really running wild. We dedicate our minds and hearts to the spirit of our child, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a time to be together, and we have grace of age. We share the wonder of youth, and we believe that growing is an answer. Our lives are full of wonder, and our time is very brief. The death of one among us was fraught with pain and grief. But as we live, so shall we die, and when our lives are done, the memories we shared with friends, they will linger on and on, and we believe in life and in the strength of love, and we have found a place to be together. We have the right to grow. We have the gift to believe that peace within our living is an answer. We seek elusive answers to the questions of this life. We seek to purr and enter all the wisdom humans life. We seek for truth, equality, and blessed peace of mind. And then we come together here to make sense of what we find. And we believe in light and in the strength of love. And we have found a joy being together. And in our search for peace, may we will finally see, even to question truly is an answer.
Chalice Lighting for Challenging Times by Lisa Dogue. Why a flaming chalice? The question comes. It's the cup of life, we answer, a cup of blessings overflowing, a cup of water to quench our spirit's thirst, a cup of wine for celebration and dedication, the flame of truth, the fire of purification, oil for anointing, healing, out of chaos, fear, and horror. Thus was the symbol crafted a generation ago. So may it be for us in these days of uncertainty, sorrow, and rage, and a light to warm our souls and guide us home.
And now, on this day, will you join me in a spirit of prayer? Spirit of life and love. We gather each week to be with one another. May we be a support for the hard times. May we be an amplification of our joyful and happy moments, celebrants together of life. May we dwell together in the wonder and the mystery of this magnificent, ever-changing creation of which we are a part. Today, Bertha Bickles asks, please continue praying for my sister's path to healing. May our prayers reach out. We offer prayers as well for recovery for Julianne, whose surgery went well. And we offer gratitude. Erin turns 21 on Monday, and Meg says we are so pleased with the woman she's become, as we are as well. May we offer our thanks to all in community. May we offer our prayers as well for those who are struggling mentally or emotionally. May we offer our hopes for those returning to community after absence. May you be fed and find what you need. May we offer prayers for peace and for healing in this world. And may we offer our hopes as our legislative session starts here in Wyoming. May courage, truth, kindness, and love be present in those deliberations as all gather in hopes of a better Wyoming, one that holds all people, all beings in care. And so we light our candles for individual care, community, and the world. Just before we close our prayer. May we be blessed to know that no one and nothing, no prayer unspoken, no hope too new to say out loud, is outside of the circle of our care. So when we give thanks for joys and sorrows that yet remain within our hearts, and may we find in this space peace and comfort and community which enfolds us. Amen, and blessed be. And if any young or young at heart would like to join me on the chancel at this time, we invite you now to join in the leadership of speaking our covenant together before our time for all ages. Thank you for being our official youngest person around today. I think we have a few more, but they may be elsewhere, otherwise occupied. The words to our covenant may be found on the inside cover of your order of worship. So we begin. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its cause. This is our covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek truth, and to help others. Today's wisdom story comes from the Indian Vedic tradition. It is called the Rajasharpa, or the snake and rope story. It's pretty short. Once upon a time, there was a man walking along a path. It was night, dusky, and he couldn't see well, but he knew that snakes were dangerous. And he thought this one could be poisonous. So he turned and ran in the opposite direction, far away. And all night he found himself away from home, scared by his fearful experience, unable to sleep well out in the world. Yet in the morning, when he decided to brave the path again, what he found was a coiled rope sitting on the ground. He realized something that day about the nature of truth, about what happens when we make our reactions too quickly. Just as the sun rose, it dawned upon him as well that in the dark it can be hard to see reality as it truly is. And in the light of day, we may see more clearly. And so today, we wonder, what is it that we are looking for? What truths have we seen obscured by the dark? What might we see when light comes back? And now, any children who are here or in our nursery who would like to go out to our faith development class, it is in the Rainbow Room downstairs. And we will say goodbye to our folks. I think we're not going to sing because I don't see anybody in here to sing to. So we'll give a wave in the nursery word direction and say thank you to our faith development teachers as well.
This is called Wisdom from the Eightfold Path. In Buddhism, one of the central teachings is called the Eightfold Path. Despite its name, it isn't a set of rules or a straight line that you follow step by step. It's a way of practicing how to meet reality honestly and live well within it. The Eightfold Path is often grouped into 3 areas. The first is wisdom, learning to see things as they truly are, not just as we fear or hope or assume them to be. Much of our suffering comes from misunderstanding reality, telling ourselves stories that don't quite match what's actually happening. Wisdom invites us to pause, look again, and stay open to the truth, even when it's uncomfortable or surprising. Second is ethical living, how we respond once we see more clearly. When we understand that our lives are deeply connected, we're called to speak with care, act with integrity, and make choices that reduce harm. Ethical living is truth put into action. Third is mindfulness and attention, training the mind to stay present. This helps us notice what's real in this moment, our thoughts, our emotions, the world around us, without immediately judging or reacting. Awareness creates space for wiser choices. Taken together, the Eightfold Path is an invitation to wake up to our lives as they are, not as we wish or fear them to be. You don't have to be a Buddhist to walk this path. It's simply a reminder that truth, compassion, and attention are practices, and that seeing reality clearly is in itself an act of care. Finding truth. We live in a time where everything comes at us quickly. Information, images, warnings, predictions, accusations, demands. News alerts buzz in our pockets. Opinions arrive prepackaged. Stories about who we are, what is happening, and what we should fear move faster than we can fully absorb them. And so a spiritual question presses itself upon us. Not just what is true, but how do we know what is true? And just as importantly, how do we understand what is entering our reality and shaping us, often before we have even chosen it? We are not only deciding what to believe, we are constantly being formed by that which we take in. Fear complicates this work. When we are anxious, we don't just seek information, we seek reassurance. We reach for interpretations that confirm what we already suspect, or that tell us who we should blame, or promise control in a world that feels increasingly unstable. But discernment is different from reassurance. Discernment asks us to slow down, to notice not only the content of what we are receiving, but its effect on us. Does this make me more awake or more reactive? More connected or more rigid? More compassionate or more afraid? Most of the deep questions of life, how should we live? What do we owe one another? What is being asked of us as a community right now, cannot be answered by volume, speed, or certainty. They require attention. They require practice. They require a willingness to encounter reality as it is, not as it is curated for us. The Unitarian Universalist tradition invites us into that practice of discernment. We are not bound by a single creed, but by a covenant, a promise to seek truth together, to test our understandings in community, and to remain accountable to love and justice as the world changes around us. Truth in this sense is not something we possess. It is something we orient toward. And discernment is how we walk in that direction, carefully, humbly, and together. One ancient guide for this work comes from Buddhism, the Eightfold Path, not as a belief, but as a method for seeing clearly and responding wisely to what arises. The Eightfold Path begins with right understanding, not as certainty, but as clear seeing. It invites us to ask, what conditions are shaping this moment? What assumptions am I bringing? What am I not seeing yet? Right understanding reminds us that perception is always partial and that discernment requires both curiosity and restraint. It calls us towards right intention, asking not only, is this true, but what am I inclined to do because I believe this? Discernment includes examining our motivations, especially when a story makes us feel justified, superior, or afraid. It asks us to practice right speech, speaking in ways that are truthful and responsible. In an age where sharing is effortless and consequences are distant, right speech becomes an ethical checkpoint. Before repeating what we've heard or sharing that TikTok or sharing the Facebook story, ask, is this accurate? Is this necessary? Is this likely to cause harm? It invites us to right action and right livelihood, aligning our responses with the real impacts they have in the world. Discernment does not end with belief. It continues into behavior. What we accept as real shapes how we treat one another. It encourages right effort and right mindfulness, staying attentive to our inner weather as we encounter the outer world. When information floods us, mindfulness helps us notice when fear is driving our attention, when outrage is narrowing our vision, when fatigue is tempting us to stop thinking altogether. And finally, it gestures towards right concentration, the practices that steady us: silence, meditation, prayer, reflection, so that we are not simply reacting to what arrives, but choosing how we meet it. These practices create space between stimulus and response, where discernment becomes possible. What makes this path especially resonant for us as Unitarian Universalists is that discernment is not meant to be solitary. We do not rely only on our individual judgments. Community is where our perceptions are tested, where our blind spots are revealed, where we learn to say both, this is how it looks to me, and I may be missing something, what do you see? Community helps us distinguish between what is urgent and what is important, between what is loud and what is true, between what demands our attention and what deserves our care. So perhaps the invitation for us today is this: as more and more enters our reality, information, fear, possibility, change, can we meet it with discernment rather than with reflex? Can we slow the moment just enough to ask, what is actually happening here? What is being asked of me? And how do I respond in a way that is grounded in truth and in love? May we be a people who practice discernment as a spiritual discipline. May we learn to see clearly without hardening our hearts. And may we walk this unfolding path together, awake to the world as it is, and faithful to the values that call us forward.
David Solomon writes, in the Jewish tradition, there is a concept called lashon hara, which is any derogatory or damaging statement against an individual. Maimonides, the Rambam, supplies a litmus test for determining whether something is or isn't lashon hara, saying anything which, if it would be publicized, would cause a subject physical or monetary damage or would cause him anguish or fear. There are many commandments, positive and negative, which can be violated when someone speaks lashon hara. For example, in Leviticus chapter 19, verse 15, Lo telech rakil be'amecha. Do not go about as a talebearer amongst your people. This is the basic prohibition against speaking what is lashon hara. In Leviticus chapter 19, verse 14, Lifnei iver lotiten mishshol. Do not place a stumbling block before the blind. One who involves himself in lashon hara is helping others to violate the prohibitions as well, placing a stumbling block. And so it goes. Leviticus chapter 19, verse 18 says, V'achavta l're'echa kamocha. You might better know this one. Love your neighbor as yourself. This is the source of the do unto others rule. We should treat others the way we want to be treated. And so, as David Solomon continues, it's lashon hara even if it's true, even if a listener pressures the speaker to tell, even if names are left out, even if it's about the speaker's own family, even if the speaker includes him or herself in the derogatory description. Lashon Hara expresses itself in many forms. Lashon Hara can be factual, stating that someone has violated a commandment. Or it can be subjective, discussing whether someone is intelligent or attractive, generous, so on. This type may even be worse because listeners often readily accept an unverifiable opinion. Sometimes whether something is Lashon Hara depends on the situation. Reporting that someone gave a certain amount for a donation could be derogatory when it is said about a wealthy person, even if it is positive when applied to someone with lesser means. Some kinds of statements are not about individuals, yet are Lashon Hara nonetheless. Insulting someone's possessions ultimately insults the owner as well. Degrading groups of people reflects unfavorably upon each member of that group. Know, however, that if information against someone might be of benefit to another, a potential business partner, a roommate, a romantic partner, then it is permissible for that person to listen to it, though the listener should state why they are listening to the information so that the speaker realizes that the intentions of the listener are constructive, and also so that the speaker doesn't intend to speak for non-constructive reasons. The listener is forbidden by Jewish law from accepting the information as true. You may only suspect and investigate, or from taking action against the subject based on information heard through Lashon Hara, through gossip. In times like these, it can be hard to know what is right speech and right action. It can be hard to know even what is real with the proliferation of AI-enhanced and doctored and altered images and videos. So how do we strike that balance? It turns out people have been trying to strike a balance for centuries. Buddhist teachings, Jewish teachings have been telling us for thousands of years how to be honest and voice our concerns in this world that we must live in together, while also being correct and cautious about what we take in and the things we share, the news and media that we believe. Striking a balance between neither opening our minds so far that everything we knew as common sense just falls right out, nor closing them up so tight that they become dusty vaults of old, stale, stagnant understandings that cannot keep up with our current events and the shifting landscape of the common era. It's a tricky balance, but this wisdom from Jewish people offers extensive ideas about keeping a values-aligned group cohesive and aligned with common religious practice. Turns out Jewish people have been doing this for 9,000 years and over the course of diasporas that have spread them across multiple continents. And they might have a bit of wisdom to teach us about holding a loving center and an honest understanding of one another through time. Like the Buddhist path of moderation, it asks people to be careful and cautious in speech, to tell not only what is true, but to avoid the kind of brutal honesty that rejoices in the brutality as much as the honesty, doing harm even as it avoids actual falsehood. The teachings of Lashon Hara, the avoidance of gossip, tell us we must try to adhere to the promise of speaking the truth in love. The writers of the original Ames Covenant, that one which we have amended and adapted and use each week as we dwell together in peace and speak truth and promise one another. In the original Ames Covenant back in 1881, they said specifically to speak the truth in love was one of their promises to one another, and it is never more important than in difficult times. For just when the world outside seems harsh and oppressive, it can be so tempting to complain about each other, to try to get back that sense of control by holding on to what is right and correct here in the places where we do have a bit of power. It can be tempting to look out at the world, to turn on a video and watch an ICE agent slip and fall in the snow again and again. It feels lighthearted, funny, to see someone who was intent on destruction find themselves in a bad circumstance of their own making. And I'm not here to tell you that you are bad for having that impulse. It is truth, but it's a truth that offers hurt and ridicule to share and spread, a truth that divides us. Perhaps another option would be to share a video of protesters singing together. Another option is that song we have heard sung outside of hotels full of ICE agents. It's okay to change your mind, show us your courage, leave this behind. It's okay to change your mind, and you can join us anytime. Singing, it's okay to change your mind, show us your courage, leave this behind. It's okay to change your mind, and you can join us anytime. Another truth, but this time one that spreads a vision of a world in which we want to live. Not a world in which people fall down and we laugh, but one in which we sing of hope and know that courage lives in the choice to take new paths when you learn that the one you're on is not right or righteous. We are always going to be tempted by the petty. That path of snark and sarcasm, sometimes we just need a laugh. There's idle blowing off of steam by complaining about one's friends or colleagues, activists. Frankly, as an activist, I have to say, sometimes activists are so self-righteous. But I would be engaged again in Lashon Hara, even as I make fun of myself. In this time, what we are trying to do is to become a team that stretches, a team that is unbreakable, a team that holds us in a net, in that interdependent web that we are all already a part of. That team is unbeatable. When we are kind to one another unfailingly, when we share and uphold our values together, when we are helping one another remember to be our better selves, we're creating a small version, a small and visible example of the world we dream of living in, a vision that's compelling and attractive and sustaining and filled with hope. Starhawk wrote in her novel, The Fifth Sacred Thing, years ago, about an imagined military occupation of the Pacific Northwest. In it, those in the city told each person in the occupying forces, "There's a place set for you at our table if you will choose to join us." When people in their community were killed while resisting, they stood up to the military, not in hate, but coming to them face to face to tell them about the ways in which those killed were beloved by their communities. Like Alex Preddy, a nurse, a good friend, someone who wanted to take care of people. Like Renee Good, a wife and mother, a poet, someone who wanted children to feel safe in her community. like so many others, not murdered but disappeared from our communities, like Carlos, a barber, a father, a husband who was excited to welcome a new baby here in Wyoming with his wife. So many people beloved by their communities, so many people who might join us if they knew how beloved they too could be. That is the power of right speech, to form an example. Perhaps it will change the world. Perhaps it is already beginning to do so, not in fiction, but in this moment, in fact. Right now, we are balanced at a tipping point, and we believe that offering truth can offer a path forward, one that is right and good. So even in a world filled with tragedy and fear, even in the midst of snow and ice, let's put on our hats and mittens. Let's hold love in our hearts like a flame, to go out and ask people to join us, offering them the world of which we dream. This is powerful. And now, if you'd like to rise in body or in spirit, our sung responses in your gray hymnals, number 311. And we'll sing the first two verses with their choruses. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you.
Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the word. And fill the sky with sky and birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant a seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. Through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. Like a willow with the wind. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. So take it to the passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be. And please remain standing as we extinguish our chalice flame and speak together the words printed in our order of service.
We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry within our hearts until we are together again.
And so it is. When we build that which is compelling. When we speak the truth about who we can be, then we form a world made of our dreams and our hopes. We become better people when we share together in this path of life. May that sharing uphold you in courage and love in the days and weeks to come. Blessed be.